Hello, hello, and welcome to Grounding into Gaia, the first edition, installment. I'm not sure what I'm calling them yet. These readings are special in that they will include a channeled message and a pick a card reading. They are timeless, so whenever you come across this video, it is meant for you to hear one of the messages in here. And I will number them just for the sake of organization, but other than that, they're not, they don't need to be followed in order necessarily if you're coming to this later on after I've recorded this. So now, at this time that I'm recording, I've done the channel, but I did not listen back to it as of yet. So I'm not sure what happened there. I can tell you what our conversations have been throughout this day that I've been preparing for the reading. So in the channel, I asked for the presence of Gaia consciousness to come through. And with her messages for what this series is going to be all about. Because I know about just as much as you guys do, at least before I began. It was a complete allowing to trust and just be the messenger. And in that, came up the topic of surrender. Because as much as one would like, this is going to be recorded. It goes on the internet for whoever and anyone to see at whatever time. So one would like to plan how they present themselves and how they are seen. And, what they're going to say. And with these type of, with readings in general, there's a lot of surrender and trust that you're not going to be running around chasing your tail, not able to get a message to be communicated clearly to someone. But usually I have an idea, Scorpio is Scorpio, Libra is Libra. There's some sort of basis. And this just is the energies that are rising at this moment in our evolution, where there is a call to return, remember, and reconnect with the wisdom of our planet. And ourselves as parts of nature. I think that's all I'll say about that for now. So what's going to happen is you can watch the channel, and then, so the channeled message, to be more precise. Then I will go through the piles, so you'll be able to choose your pile. And then I'll do each of the readings for each of the piles. So the channeled message is coming up right now. Enjoy. I am here. I gather you all here today to mark the beginning of a journey back into the roots. At this time, what is most important is to set the intention to connect to the energy beneath your feet. It is but a time of rediscovery. Know that this is not something that you are learning. Perhaps consciously there is a need for your intellect and your rational mind to catch up to the reality that has surrounded you always. Know that it has surrounded you always, and thus could never be separate from you. The mind has the capacity to bring you deeper into this awareness, but also has the capacity to ignore, delete, attempt to delete that which is always so. The nature of which you are a part and not apart from, a part of, not apart from. This journey that you embark on is one of a deep connection to yourself and that which the earth has for you, the most fundamental supportive energies. It is a supportive energy that soothes the need to seek externally for comfort, fulfillment, things that provide a tangible sense of security, something that you can hold on to. We offer the idea that what you need to hold on to is energetic rather than physical. And so will be your interactions with those physical manifestations of forces that is the bounty of nature. The animals, the elements, the plants, the trees, rocks, stone, crystals, and minerals, water, all carry a vibrational medicine and a vibrational contribution to your physically manifested form. To think yourself separate from these, my manifestations, those born of me, you deny that of you, which is born of me and therefore is nurtured and sustained by my presence. I remind you again that this is the start of a journey. There is much to learn, much to discover, much to unlearn, much to share. With that, I leave you curious and perhaps motivated to journey into the mysteries. So we have 4 piles to choose from today, and there's a little bit of a backstory to the crystals that were selected for this reading. That's another topic of discussion I've been going back and forth with the earth consciousness. And so the crystals that I chose are common, very common to the point that people tend to walk past them. if you've been into crystals for a bit, or even if you're new to crystals, it seems like these ones are relatively easy to find. They are available in abundance. They're not that expensive in comparison to other crystals. So there was this discussion then or I was given the question, to ponder, when something is in abundance, why do humans tend to value them less than things that are rare? And this is something that is, they find interesting that because the reason that the earth has given us these crystals in abundance is because we need them. We really need them. so they try to make it easy for us to have, but often we're looking for, the highest vibe, newest crystal, the most rare, hardest to get, and if we're not seeking them, there's often an attraction to them because they are, not the norm. However, these crystals that are kind of in the, let's say, beginner's guide to crystals, in the first 10 that you should collect, they often get cast aside. And I was guided to use these crystals as a means of getting back to appreciating that which is already in abundance in our lives in order to attract more. So that was something given to me to ponder and to share with you so that you may ponder it as well. Each crystal also has its message for you. They do more than denote one pile or distinguish one pile from another. The crystals themselves are coming with their own messages. So what you're drawn to is also the vibration that the crystal has to offer and the wisdom that the Deva has for you. So let me introduce you to the crystals that will represent each of the piles. We have Smokey Quartz, pile 1. Labradorite, that's pile 2. Green Aventurine, pile 3. And red Jasper is pile 4. I will give you a 1-minute meditation to make your choice. Hello, pile 1. Welcome to your reading. You chose Smokey Quartz. So Smokey Quartz is linked to the root chakra and the earth star chakra. It's about the balance of shadow and light. It's about the balance of spiritual and physical. And they say that the darker the smoky quartz is, that the more light it actually is able to hold. Smoky quartz comes to you with the message of grounding into your life purpose, grounding your spirit into your physical. It seems that some of you are living a fragmented life where you're really feeling a disconnect between your day-to-day and your day-to-day actual everyday life and your spirit. There's also those of you who feel like your physical form is not representative, like you feel like you're in the wrong body. And you may be at odds with your body. Some of you are experiencing or have experienced a deep disconnect to your physical form. And Smoky Quartz is saying that some of you, that is from trauma. And Smoky Quartz is offering a pathway to that healing, like an emotional healing that brings this. They want me to do this hand action, so I have to put it down. That brings this the spirit and the physical like a mesh together, as that is also healing the physical ailments that you have that are actually representative of a deeper spiritual, energetic. They want to say misalignment, and they also say like something muck, something like the word muck. Things aren't necessarily flowing, and when things aren't flowing, then it becomes a physical problem, or they're trying to get your attention, and your body your physical form may be trying to get your attention. And that line of communication seems to be broken for a lot of you who have chosen this pile. So if this is not resonating with you, then you may want to choose a different crystal. But that seems to be where this conversation is going, according to Smoky Quartz. So where shall I put the Smoky Quartz? Let's find a place for it. So let's put it there. Okay. So I pre-shuffled your oracle and a couple tarot. I'm going to shuffle some more tarot for clarifiers and some final oracles on camera. But these are the cards that we have for you today. And we will start with the topic that I brought up in the intro, which is surrender. We have the surrender cards. So surrender stubbornness. If you're tensing up or taking a rigid stance about something, gently observe yourself and become more yielding. This will help you communicate more lovingly with with others and yourself. Surrender your addictions. Whether you're addicted to substances, food, people, sex, or overworking, take action to begin to heal the addiction and replace it with healthier alternatives. And surrender to play. Take a break from overthinking a goal. Do something for fun. Play is a time of recreation and rejuvenation. So your first surrender cards, or your first cards, which are the surrender cards, basically are all pointing to this like a stagnant, stuck anxiety, stress and anxiety about how things should be, how they were supposed to be, how they are not, and how you believe that things are supposed to play out. And this seems to be causing you to stick with behaviors that are not really helping you at this time. So if you find yourself that not being able to move forward and you're constantly frustrated about things not going your way, it's because you need to let go of what you think is supposed to happen, your rigid stance. You have to let go of any coping mechanisms. And find a healthier way to deal with, let's say, energy that's not, if you're restless because you don't have the outlet for your energy, then find an outlet for your energy. Do things on a smaller scale until you can do them on a bigger scale. And that's where this surrender to play card comes in. You need to start finding solutions or exploring. You need to start exploring the possibilities of how else this can manifest itself. So these are all surrendering to Gaia, I need help here. Surrendering the need to control everything with your mind and to rationalize everything into being, because there's a part of aligning yourself with your goals that requires you to find ways of being that you weren't before. And there's no controlled, sure way of going forward and finding that magic place. You have to play. You have to let go of needing an exact plan, let go of needing to know where the path is going to lead, because it's not trial and error so much in terms of the universe, but you are meant to trust more that you will find it if you let go of your iron grip on what you believe how it should play out. Now, this is general. It could be in love. It could be in career. It could be in your health. I get for a lot of you, there are some health implications because of the addictions part, and it's not necessarily, as we said, not necessarily substance abuse, but it's an addiction that does not serve you well anymore. And that's not to say it didn't provide comfort of some sort in the past, but now you want more, and some of the things that you are holding on to, thinking that you can take them with you where you're going, that cannot be so. So that is the surrender. What do we have next? So we have your spirit animal wisdom cards. All of these decks, by the way, are linked in the description box. They are affiliate links. And if you're interested in any of the decks I'm using, you can check them out there. So your spirit animal wisdom, we have Panther, protection. Consider who you allow to take your energy and who you give it away to freely. And Otter, initiations, be open through this transitional time. Oh, let's just adjust this. You can see the animals. There we go. Good. So Panther and Otter, what are they saying? Let's start with the Panther. I was getting this in the beginning with the surrender, and with the surrender cards, and this further came out to clarify or to confirm for me, there is certain situations that you feel you're in the right in, but these situations, whether you're in the right, whether you're wrong, but whether you've been, someone did you wrong, it is draining you of your energy. And some of you, yes, it's being taken because it's just a difficult situation, or it's a situation that is very troubling to your spirit, but some of you are engaging in a drama that you don't need to engage in. It's almost this, like the stubbornness and the addiction is going together because you're refusing to give up. You're putting being right as a priority above your peace of mind. And there is this feeling that I will have peace of mind once that person realizes that I'm right. And they want you to know that that peace, that may never come. They may never understand or think you're right or understand your point of view. So how are you going to give that to yourself? With the Otter, I'm getting the, this is coming right by your surrender to play card. And yeah, there is and this Otter, they're showing me that he's going with the flow, he or she is going with the flow, eating, laying on its back, eating its shellfish here, mussels, or forget what otters eat, but I know they eat whatever that is. and yeah, totally trust that if there is a moment where it needs to protect itself, that it will, that nature is going to let it know that it is in tune with nature. So it's not going to be caught by surprise. And even if it comes, so even when something comes quickly, they react quicker. They know they can. That's the fact that they know that they will be able to react and trust the communication between themselves and nature. They are able to really sink into relaxation, into being in that moment. And this is what you're being called to do at this time. And trust that you have been given experiences, and this is where we're coming back to the Smokey Quartz, that some of these experiences that are actually feel like they're holding you back from going where you want to go, they actually are holding in that kind of darkness a lot of light, a lot of wisdom, a lot of evidence of your strength, a lot of skills that you can, I say skills like life skills and character that you can carry into the rest of your life, like this otter. The panther and the otter are working together. The panther is your protector, right? Is your protective spirit, and your otter is your playful spirit. You have both, and that is should let you, or you should let it sink in to your being, knowing that you can protect yourself when needed, and therefore have the freedom to relax and play and let go of stresses, let's say. So your next, I'm pulling some, these are some pre-shuffled tarot from the Dreams of Gaia tarot deck. It is quite different from the traditional tarot, so that's why I pre-shuffled it, because its messages will be quite specific to the Gaia consciousness. The Eight of Earth, which would be the Eight of Pentacles. Ace of Fire. And number 2, the Maiden. So I'm seeing that you have, it's time for you to do some deep learning and learning about yourself, learning from past experiences. They're showing me the third eye, or the eye in her crown here. It's the perspective that you have on your past experiences will greatly affect how you move through the world now. And they are greatly affecting how you move through the world now. And this is why you're being called to action, to weave a new web for yourself. If you can see the web in there with the spider. And this beautiful dragon is guiding you to a place where ultimately you tend to your own healing. And retrieve some of your innocence. It's that time that you gift yourself a different story about yourself and a different story about what happened. And you need to also stop telling the story at some point. You need to tell a different story. You need to learn about your true nature and study yourself as deeply as you would study anyone. Like if you were, how you yearn to know a partner, you should yearn to know yourself in this at the same depth. I'm going to grab some clarifiers. So the universe is also sending, you're being sent the opportunity for rewriting these stories and burning away anything that is not serving you. The Ace of Wands right here with your surrender your addictions is saying that the fire is already burning somewhere. You know, your spirit team, your guides, specifically some of you may have some dragons who are just waiting for you to recognize that they're there. You have the support to throw all of that in the flame of transmutation. And I love how your the maiden and the surrender to play and the otter are all so beautifully lined up. Oh, these are coming out in reverse. I'll show you this deck that I'm shuffling here in a moment. I want that one. Just in the upright. Okay, so we have, this is the Afro-Brazilian Tarot. I'm going to use that to clarify the first line of tarot that came out. So we have the Eight of Pentacles, again, but this time in reverse. We have the, trying to remember if this is the Page or the Knight. I think this is the Page. Yeah, this is the Page of Swords. It's in reverse. And we have the Four of Wands upright. Put it closer here so you can see them. I'm getting with the Eight of Pentacles in reverse that you're really stubborn about something. And part of what you're stubborn about is seeing your role in how the circumstances that are bothering you, how you contributed to it getting to that point, and how you are contributing to it continuing. There's a necessity to look at that, to look at your intentions and your actions with more objectivity. Like, I'm surprised that nothing with forgiveness has come up as of yet. Maybe it's going to come out in the final oracles, but that is definitely something to ponder. You know, how did I contribute to this situation? What is my role? And if I'm contributing to it, what can I do to stop it? This is where the addictions come in, because you also may be addicted to running away from conflict, for example. The Page of Swords in reverse is saying that you are creating negative circumstances through your negative thoughts or through your repetitive thoughts. So pay attention to your repetitive thoughts. I get that some of you actually may have very, very good intuition, may be mediums, psychics of some sort. And it's very important then to also ground yourself and be discerning in what you listen to in your head, because you can easily, be unable to function in our, 3D reality. Now, that could be a good thing when you're in control of it. When you're not in control of it, it can give you headaches, anxieties, what is it called? The troubles with your nervous system, they're saying, tension. And so becoming more aware of and in control of your thoughts is important. The Four of Wands is telling me that your home life needs to be somewhere where you are very comfortable. It needs to become that. You need to turn your home into, or at least a corner of your home or some way in your home needs to have a comforting, celebratory type of energy. And that for you may be one of the problems. Your stubbornness may be making your home an unhappy place. If you are overly conscious of how people clean, when they clean, if they clean, just as an example, and I'm not going to give any opinion on that topic, they're telling me that there could be stubbornness in how you deal with people you live with, or how you live side by side with people, which makes your living situation also stressful. But it's your expectations that are making it that way. And you have to balance between my expectations and the other person or people and their intentions. And if there's a disconnect, it needs to be addressed. And, they're saying you can't expect people to live by your internal values, because they have their own, right? The best you can do is have a discussion about how to live together, and both have the intention that you want to live harmoniously. That applied to a home, because the Four of Wands I'm getting is completely your home life. I'm pulling your final oracles here. Yes. Yeah, just the one. We have co-create. So it's about becoming aware of what you are creating, what you are manifesting into your physical reality through your thoughts, especially those that you repeat often, your repetitive thoughts and your repetitive actions, your addictions and what you're being stubborn about. And you have the ability to change that, because you have the ability to change yourself, and you have the ability to look at your situations differently. They're telling me you are the director and the screenwriter and the producer of your film and the main character. So if you are writing, you want to write about yourself in a favorable light, and that's not to erase any mistakes, but the hero has, his moments where he's scared, where he's unsure of his abilities, where he loses, but then, at the end of the movie, he comes out on top. I'm using he generally, so there are women heroes. We know many of them, but for the generalization, you can be that hero because you're writing the story. And that's where your final card comes in, Mexican Marigold Renewal. Time to begin again, stronger, better. So Mother Gaia wants you to know that you have always had opportunities to start again. The story can begin again wherever you want to start. But of course now, at this time, there is an upswing in energies for releasing the past and building a new future. So now is the time for you to take advantage of that whenever you are seeing this video. And don't hesitate to go out and grab yourself, almost dropped that one, grab yourself a piece of Smokey Quartz and get to know it and meditate with it, carry it in your pocket, and see what wisdom it has to impart, because the Crystal Devas are here to teach us about our vibration, not just to be pretty, although they're that too. So, Pile 1, thank you so much. I wish you all the best, and I hope you enjoyed this reading. Don't forget to give it a like, a thumbs up, and I'll see you next month. Bye for now. Hello, Pile 2. Welcome to your reading. You chose this little Labradorite tumble that sparkles so nice and gold in the light. Is that gold too? Yeah. So I do have other pieces of Labradorite, but this one in particular was the one that called and said that people need to see it. So let me get rid of the Smokey quartz from pile 1. So Labradorite, what can I tell you about Labradorite? It is great for astral traveling, lucid dreaming, getting wisdom from your dreams. It's also really good for psychic protection. And so it's coming to you today, or if you chose Labradorite, there is something that it's time to manifest. You've been likely thinking about it a lot, but not necessarily acting on it. And because Labradorite is it's one of the stones that I and other crystal aficionados would consider a stone of a magician. Maybe someone out there's a musician, but it's a stone of a magician. So creating, it's about creating in divine timing, creating with spirit, creating through divine intuition, divine interventions. So I'm getting from the Labradorite that you likely have something that, as I said, you want to manifest, and you have been kind of waiting for the timing to be right or something to fall into place. But let's see what your oracles say. So I pre-shuffled oracle cards and a few tarot, and then I'm going to shuffle some clarifiers and final oracles on camera. So the first oracles I have are surrender, power of surrender cards. All of the decks I'm using are linked in the description box below as affiliate links. Your first card is surrender to inner peace. Cultivate inner peace on a daily basis. In quiet, meditative moments, focus on the stillness within and enjoy this inner refuge. Others will feel your good vibes too, and your life will flow more easily. And then your second card is surrender to joy. A key to positive change in your life is to let joy in and savor it. Indulge in random acts of smiling. During both the hard and easy times, keep surrendering to more joy. So I'm getting that you may have a lot of turmoil around how to move forward, inner turmoil around how to move forward in life, or there's a lot of chaos around you. I'm getting that you may have so many thoughts that they're all manifesting like bam, 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 here, there, and you don't know which one to really take hold of and run with, because and you seem to be waiting for a sign of which one is the right one for you. But I'm getting that you're not going to find that answer until you allow yourself peace and you allow yourself to feel joy. And this is where Gaia's consciousness is saying, like, how do you expect to tap into your own wisdom if you don't quiet all of the babble? Now, it could be important babble, it happens. You have, right? We have things to think about, things to organize, and there is a logical and practical side to manifesting. However, we are in grounding into Gaia today, and there is wisdom to be received in the not doing. In not doing, you are doing, because you're aligning yourself, you're attuning yourself more closely to they're saying you're setting the dial of your radio to, oh my goodness, what decade are they? And the dial of the radio. But anyway, you're setting the dial of the radio to the station that your soul is on. That's what happens when you slow down and tune into yourself. You are literally listening to your own frequency. And when you listen to your own frequency, it's easier to tell what on the outside is not aligning with what's on the inside. And you are not meant to move through life constantly in dissonance, right? With your inner world and your outer world. You are at best use in the world when you find the path that aligns most closely with your soul song. That's what they are saying about. So you have the wolf. Heart medicine, let go of that which does not serve your highest good. This is the Spirit Animal Wisdom deck. Yeah, you need to let go of. And I like that this card is the it's earth and air, because it's essentially being grounded, but being intuitive, intellectual as well. And what meets in the middle of your head and your feet? Your heart. Your heart is the center chakra as well. The one you have, at least when we're talking about the 7 system, the heart is in the middle, and you have 3 below and 3 above. Right? I'm getting that you're spread too thin, and you need to focus in, like the wolf, focus in on what is really serving your peace and your joy. And anything that's not serving your peace and your joy, you need to let go of. She says it's easier said than done. She knows. But these are things that you need to release to the earth. There's really no reason. There is no good. No good comes of it. No good comes of denying yourself peace and joy for the sake of, of what? Because, excuse me, the co-creative magic of Labradorite comes from the knowing, comes from those places, right? Anything, what other intention are you creating your life for or with, even when you do things that are not necessarily in alignment with your peace and your joy at the moment, the long-term trajectory, most of us are looking to the future to say, I'm going to be able to relax, I'm going to be able to retire, I'm going to see people happy, we're going to have a barbecue. I rarely does someone say, I'm going to suffer today so I can suffer the whole rest of my life. Like, that's my intention. No, right? We do know that you make sacrifices today sometimes for tomorrow. But this is not the quality of decision that Gaia wants to discuss. She is saying that if at the end of it all there is no peace and joy, then why are you doing it? And you have to become more discerning about those things before you start down that path and get yourself into these complexities where you end up overthinking, should I stay or should I go? Or can I leave this situation without harming anybody, or without harming feelings, or without burning bridges, right? Let's look at the tarot that came out for you. This is the Dreams of Gaia tarot, which is quite different from the standard tarot, so I pulled them separately. And I'll shuffle some other tarot to clarify these ones. So we have number 22, Intuition. Number 11, Emotion/Intellect. Well, that is, that's pretty good, given that you got the wolf and we were just talking about that. And we have a nice dragon here who is the Ace of Air. All right, so you also have a nice owl and a cat in there, and a piece of, what is that in her hand? Trying to see what it is. Okay, let me see. Oh, it's like this crystal ball. And a crystal ball, yeah. So, and weaving the web down here. Your body is telling you, your body and its finer senses are actually really speaking to you these days. And you seem to have that. It's been natural and very strong on you, even if you haven't recognized it. And you may recognize it now as aches and pains that seem to be nagging and don't go away. And it could very well be because you sacrifice your peace and your joy, and your intuition is telling you, your intuition is telling you that that is not the way to your fulfillment in life. It's just not the way. And is it not just, sorry, we have to get our grammar right. It's not only you. It's not just not the way for you. It's not the way it's designed, period. We've been conditioned to believe that that's the way it's designed, but that's not the way it's designed. Yes, there are moments where you will see the bigger picture and do things in the moment that are not 100% what you want to do in that moment. But the greater alignment with the outcome is also, the outcome is peace and joy and happiness and love. And if it's not that, then you're going the wrong way. Basically, there has to be a meeting of your emotion and your intellect. Apparently, you have been relying too heavily on your intellect in this and overthinking situations and not feeling enough. And this lovely air dragon is coming to support you in blowing all of the cobwebs out of your brain, or blowing all of the thoughts that are not serving you out of your brain. And Gaia wants to help you in this, in that you realize that the smallest things, like this first Surrender to Joy card said, the smallest things like taking a moment to smile at somebody, or to watch something and laugh. Taking those small moments eases, it brings you back into your emotional body. It brings you back into your body and your emotional body. Mini dance break. For example, they're showing me someone like at their home office, and they put on a song and they're dancing next to their desk. These type of things. You're able to release the anxiety of your mind through the movement of your body. So inner peace does not just have to be meditating, for example. Stillness could be walking, the stillness of your mind. Stillness of your mind could mean activity of your body. And often for people who have a very active mind, that's exactly what they need in order to slow their mind. And this ace of air that's coming in is bringing new pathways or renewed pathways to you stilling the overactivity of your mind. I'm going to get some clarifying tarot for this one. This is the Afro-Brazilian tarot. And I'm just going to pull some quick cards to see if there's anything else that they want to pin down about that. Three of Pentacles in reverse. Now, do I have the whole deck turned over? No. Okay. Because the last pile also got most of the cards in reverse, so I'm just making sure that I'm not holding the deck upside down or something. The Nine of Pentacles. I just need one more. Wait for the... Okay, I'll take that. Ooh, and the Eight of Pentacles in reverse. Sorry, I didn't mean to make that sound. It's not like... They're all pentacles. So there's really a lot of manifestation happening in your life right now. And as I was saying in the beginning, that there's this feeling that there's so many options for you, like there's almost overwhelming, and you're waiting for some type of sign as to what option to take. The Three of Pentacles in reverse is I'm just going to look at all these cards together because it's basically telling me that you need to listen to your own heart and your own counsel, because right now you have too many. This Three of Pentacles in reverse is telling me that you have too many voices in your ear right now about too many opinions on what will make you happy, and you're not really consulting yourself on what will make you happy, and that in itself causes problems. And maybe you are considering other people's happiness because of your family unit. You're closely linked to people. You live with people, or you are in a really close-knit friendship circle where you share each other's joys, sorrows, successes, and failures. Fine. But in this case, what you need to discover is something that is inside of yourself. And that is the Nine of Pentacles is, he's harvested, he's lining up everything. And this tree behind him is almost cannot be contained anymore by the container that he has put it in. What he is growing, has started to grow, is coming to such fruition. That success is coming, right? And you're balancing your emotion and your intellect, because I have the feeling that some of you have some naysayers because it feels like this manifestation has been taking too long. You've been working on it for a long time. It's just not, or they don't necessarily see how it's going to become this, let's call it an empire, even if it's just your personal empire. It's going to bring you they don't see how it's going to bring you the abundance that you believe it is going to bring you. And that's where you have to balance your emotion and your intellect, because your emotional body is telling you, not the ego emotional body, but the one that's tied to your intuition, is telling you that this thing is going to blow up. The seeds that you have planted, they are really going to expand. And the Eight of Pentacles in reverse is basically saying that there's nothing left for you to learn at this point. You are ready. You are completely ready to follow your heart's desires, for your heart's desires to turn into things. Your thoughts are already turning into things. They have turned into things. It's time for you to really target those thoughts based on what your heart wants, because you're meant to manifest something it's very fertile. It has a lot of success for you attached to it. There's peace, there's joy. Yes, there may be work, because Labradorite is also, it's about co-creating. It's not just you waiting for the divine to come down and tell you what you need to do. It's about you standing as the magician, who didn't come out in the tarot, but standing as the magician, knowing that not only can you manifest, you also know how to use the tools that are at your disposal. I just shuffled one of your final oracles from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck by Colette Baron-Reid. And you got number 47, Go to Distance. So this is about it being time for you to make that heart-led decision and take it as far as you can take it, regardless of what anyone else says or thinks about it. It seems to be part of a lot of these, I think all of these readings today are more or less really are leading into discussing your purpose. But you, pile 2, I really feel that you are in this creative void where you have the potential. Your mind has already started to create this future, and you need to put your heart in it fully so that it will look and feel how you want it to look and feel, meaning that it will have all of the advantages that you dream of and then some, in terms of creating comfort for yourself and your loved ones. I'm going to pull one more card from the Language of the Flowers. Ooh. Okay, you got 3 cards. So, some insight on how to move forward. Bluebell, gratitude. Be thankful for what is good now. Put these here. White carnation, devotion. Be true and pure in thought and deed. That goes back to speaking to your intentions. And forget-me-not, remembrance, memories, and the past hold the key. That didn't come up through through the rest of the reading. So I hope that resonates for you some way. Yes, for each of you, they're saying to me that, so I go between saying they and she, because sometimes it's like Gaia herself, and sometimes it's a consciousness that is of nature, if that makes sense. So just to clarify that. So they're saying that for each of you, there is something in the past that foreshadowed this moment you're in now. A synchronicity, a dream. There's a deja vu, and you'll probably have it around the time that I pulled out that card, or now, possibly a little later tonight when you sleep, if you set the intention that you want to. But there's something that was planted in your sphere to help you make this decision, to help you make this transition, and it happened sometime in the past. So you may want to meditate on that, journal about it, or set the intention to have that clarified in your dream if it didn't already pop up for you as I pulled that card. And that is it, pile 2. I wish you all the best. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I hope you stick around and watch it again next month, because I have a feeling that it's just going to keep getting better as I build this relationship. And until next time, take care, be well, and stay blessed. Bye for now. Hello, pile 3. Welcome to your reading. You chose Green Aventurine. So, if you ask me, Green Aventurine is one of the most overlooked and taken for granted crystals. Now, I know it is not the flashiest, fanciest of crystals out there, but it is very common. It's quite affordable, and it actually has a really great purpose. As I said, the devas are offering their wisdom through the crystals that you selected. And Aventurine is about unlimited potential. It's about adventure, right? Seeing life as an adventure, and knowing that, like, seeing your creations not as once I get here, then it's going to be done. It's about always enjoying the journey to the next thing, to the next phase, to the next experience. And it's essentially knowing that you can create anything. It's also the stone that heals what's in your first 7 years of life. So if you have any self-limiting beliefs, especially that stem from your childhood, Green Aventurine is a very good ally. And the message that Green Aventurine wants to bring you today is one of remembering. They wanted me to pause between and membering. Membering or remembering your infinite potential. And that nothing is impossible. They want to remind you of that childlike childhood innocence and belief that anything is possible until we, ultimately are taught what our elders understand as the confines of physical reality, right? The limitations of physical reality and how the world works, how the universe works, not just socially, but also physical, just the interactions between chemicals, for example. If you do this, it makes a fire and things like this. But Aventurine goes back to those first years where you know, really what if our inventors, we took all the ideas of people under the age of 7 and tried to create those things. I'm sure we'd have some really awesome stuff, because it takes a while for kids to be, I don't like using the word conditioned, but let's just use it for the sake of ease at the moment. They haven't been conditioned yet to know as to what they consider possible and not possible. The rules of matter, the rules of engagement, the social rules as to how to move through the world. And in that time, so a lot of our creative spark also is packaged, let's say, and in that time. And we have, so Green Aventurine is coming to you today to revisit that and see if there's anything that needs to be tidied up, any half-truths or non-truths that need to be disposed of, given back to Gaia so that it can be turned into fertilizer, if it's not already fertilizer, but at least so that it can fertilize a dream, something that you want to manifest now that has more meaning to you and it works for your highest good. So I have your surrender cards first. I pre-shuffled some oracles and your first row of tarot, and then the clarifiers and some final oracles I will shuffle on camera. Surrender your fear of change. I'm trying to get that to focus. The universe is reminding you that you are cared for always, whether you're afraid of a change in your job, your health, or relationship, or if you fear aging or death. Repeat the affirmation, I have faith that all is well. Surrender to wonder and awe. Open to the magic of every moment and sense the awe and wonder in all of life. This attitude will keep you connected to the ecstasy of flow. And surrender to silence. In quiet meditation or contemplation, let go and enter the stillness within. Silence can heal and replenish you. So what did I get off of that first row? It seemed to be jaded at this point. It seems like the mundane has become very mundane. Sorry, there's a lot of glare there. Seems the mundane has become very mundane, but at the same time, you are not really willing to, I shouldn't say you're not willing to change. You're wary of trying to change anything or going against the status quo. Your spirit animals are the butterfly, emerging, take the leap of faith, and monkey, inner child, don't take life too seriously. This totally came out in the surrender to wonder and awe, because kids find everything, like, well, for the most part. I think nowadays they get bored more easily. I could be wrong. I don't have any of my own. But that's something that we lose as we grow up and as we start to believe that things are impossible. We stop believing in, they say we stop believing in magic, and also things become normal, things become la-di-da. And this is where also Gaia is constantly offering us the magic of wonder and awe every time, a flower blooms, every time the rain falls, every time you observe the wonder of a tree and all of the life that lives in the ecosystem that is the tree. You know, there's there's momentum in wonder and awe. And wonder and awe is something that naturally has to do with change for me. Well, from the perspective that they're showing me, because nature is never static. Maybe a stone, right? But they're saying even not that, even though we can't observe it, observe it being not static. The butterfly is telling me that you are going through a transition, and some of it is like somehow against your will, but it's actually all for the best. Now, I'm going to look at your tarot, but I do want to say, yeah, if you have been forced out of a job, forced out of a relationship, or a relationship ended and you're not the one that ended it, if you have to move, this is a time, they're saying that that which is falling away is actually falling away because there's something really a lot better for you. You just don't necessarily believe that there's something better for you. And they're saying for some of you that picked this pile that the reality that you have created for yourself, you created out of already settling and not believing that that which you wanted to create was actually a possibility. For what reason? I guess we are going to find out in the next row of cards. So we have the Three of Fire. Do you want me to do... Okay, they want me to do it in reverse. I was trying not to do anything in reverse. Number 20, Desire. And that's in the reverse. And the 10 of Fire. It's in reverse. Three of Fire, a journey has started. Something is, you have changed the butterfly and the Three of Fire with this man on a journey here. And they're showing the mountains behind him. He seems very prepared for a journey, even though he knows that there are some difficulties along the way. And they're saying that you are very much prepared for this. Yes, there are going to be some challenges, but not because they're difficult in of themselves, but because you're still in, you have to grow within the situation. And growing within the situation means that there's going to be things that rub you the wrong way, irk you. You may have to stand up for yourself when you wouldn't normally. You may have to back down when you wouldn't normally. So something, you may have to lead when you wouldn't normally as well. Desire in the reverse. It's telling me you left a lot of what was... Okay, so Gaia is saying very clearly that there were desires planted in you from birth, and those desires are meant to guide you to your life purpose. So when you shut down those desires, you end up isolated, taken off the path of your life purpose, basically. Does that mean you did something wrong? No, you may have needed to go off the path because there was something else you needed to learn before you could get back on the path. Right now, what it seems that Gaia wants to teach you about yourself is that the change that really needs to happen doesn't involve you really doing anything. It's simply about not taking everything so seriously and taking the opportunity to be still in whatever chaos is happening in your life so that you can realign with your creativity, with your creative forces, so that what you're sending out to the world, to the universe to be created, can be more in alignment with why you came to this lifetime to begin with. So green aventurine, and as I said in the beginning, you know, things that come to us, these crystals that are available to us in abundance are there because we really need them. The vibration is very necessary for us at these times. So yes, there are, you know, crystals that help you communicate with extraterrestrials or get in touch with your star family, ones that you know, are meteorites like moldavite and columbianite, and you know, so yes, there are those, let's call them quote unquote higher vibe crystals. And I only say higher vibe because the Gaia is telling me something in relation to the dimensionality, but she doesn't want to get into it right now. So, but what will help you in this plane to ground your life purpose, your light, your soul into this plane is a crystal like Aventurine, because it teaches you about the limitlessness of your soul and therefore the limitlessness of the possibilities in life. If you are a co-creator of this life and you are limitless, then life as a result is also limitless. And that is what Aventurine wants to tell you. I'm going to do the next row of tarot just to clarify, see if there's anything else that needs to be said. Ooh, so we got the Fool. This is the Afro-Brazilian tarot. We have the Fool and the Upright. Very good. These two images work very nicely together. And then we have the Queen of Pentacles. And the Nine of Pentacles in reverse, which is interesting. So I'm getting here that you're starting down. It's time for you to start down a new path. It's very open and available to you. It's basically reconfirming this, what the line that came before. It's you need to. It's time for you to start creating from a place that is more intuitive, that is more from wonder and awe, that is more childlike and excited about the world. Because the divine feminine is one that creates from with the cycles of nature, more with flow, more with intuition and feeling, in balance, balanced out by the more masculine, divine masculine attributes that are planning and action. The Nine of Pentacles in reverse is telling me that I find it interesting that you got this all in reverse. That what you've built up to now is not if you are thinking that you're going to be able to skirt this change, divert from this change, keep things status quo, and things will be okay, it will not be. The Nine of Pentacles in reverse is saying that what you have planted is not, I don't want to say it's not going to come to fruition, but it's certainly not going to be as satisfying as you think it's going to be. And especially if the universe is telling you, like, no, don't go down this road. If you're not listening, they will get louder. And when they get loud, usually, and then they have to do something that shocks you into changing your course. And this is the opportunity for you to change your course before they feel the need to redirect you forcefully. Right, with usually something negative. I'm going to shuffle an oracle card for you from the Wisdom of the Oracle. Card 46, Regeneration. I feel like I want to read from the book for this one. The other two piles before, I didn't read from the book, but I'm getting the message that the book's description will tie this together nicely. So, 46. Regeneration, rebirth, second chances, and new opportunities. Second chances are available to you now. Whatever opportunities you thought were dead are now revived in a more authentic, stronger form. Whatever you may have perceived as a failure or loss is now being replaced by, turn the page here, something better and more powerful growing in its place. This rebirth is assured. Step into your new life. Destiny is being fulfilled in wondrous ways. So I couldn't have said it better myself. I'm glad they pointed me towards the book because, this is a time for you to get back to basics, to have a whole new start, and not because what happened before was a mistake, but because it's time for you to really be in alignment with what you're called here to do. That could be a whole range of things, let's not get into the whole list of things, careers, lifestyles, family life that could be, but it's telling me that your soul has a frequency that, it has a plan. There is a plan. You need to be put back in alignment with that plan. And that detour that you took may have been, well, it did provide lessons, but now there is a magic in you surrendering to the process of change and healing that which numbed your wonder and awe. You guys need to have more fun. The monkey is just like hanging out in that tree, looking all, he's so relaxed. He's got bananas, he got fruit. He's also in wonder and awe, just enjoying the bounty that the earth has to offer. And for some of you, enjoying food. Ooh, this is probably very specific, but they're showing me someone who had a lot of dieting. And so your relationship with food is not very healthy. You can't bring yourself to you got really strict with your food. And so you don't enjoy food the way that it's meant to be enjoyed. And eating in silence, really enjoying your food as you eat it, will be important for you. And that goes, they say it goes for someone as well who has kind of trouble with overeating. If you eat mindfully, it will change your relationship to food. Some of you may have been put on a lot of diets when you were young. Probably not before the age of 7, but in your youth. So, let's see. Crocus, breathe, calm, rest, stop, and just be. These are your final oracles from the Language of the Flowers deck. Sorry, I totally skipped that part. This is it. And heart's ease, compassion, tread a little more tenderly. So yeah, you need to calm, you need to not push everything. Even things are moving forward on their own. You don't need to push so hard. You don't need to push hard. And if the change is really making you feel anxiety, then it's time to take some time out in nature, especially if the weather is decent where you are, even if it's, even if it's not. You don't have to stay out there, forever. Like 10 minutes of silent time in nature can be so restorative. And compassion, tread a little more tenderly. Yeah, it's all with the monkey thing. Don't take life so seriously. Like, also just don't be so hard on yourself about things. It's not necessary. So pile 3, that is your reading. I hope you enjoyed this offering, and I hope you come back next month as well. Don't forget to like this video or subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time. Until then, take care, be well, and stay blessed. Bye for now. Hello, pile 4. Welcome to your reading. You chose Red Jasper. Now, it is a little sad because I am so guilty that I only have this piece of red jasper, and I think I have a raw, like a bigger raw piece. But all of the other stones I laid out, oh no, the green Aventurine, I only have the one as well. And this is, remember at the beginning I said, we tend to value the things that are rare and not the things that are on offer to us in abundance. And I'm guilty of that with the green Aventurine and the red jasper. So I'm going to have to rectify that very soon. But red jasper for you, pile 3. It is root chakra stone. It's considered by some native and indigenous peoples to be the blood of the earth. So it has a very nurturing, grounding energy. It allows you to be cradled by Mother Earth in her safety, in her security. And if you chose this stone, so red jasper, Deva wants to say, the pressures of everyday life are really destabilizing you, and you may not recognize it, but those effects, they are affecting you more than you are aware of. And so nurturing yourself is very necessary at this time. And nurturing yourself, I'm getting nurturing your truths. So it's more than nurturing yourself, like taking a a bubble bath or taking yourself out to dinner or things like that. You also need somewhere to cultivate. You also need to be able to cultivate those beliefs that you feel are at the core of your being, because those beliefs, they're telling me that those beliefs are, some of them are are planted wisdom. They're wisdom that's awakening in you. And if you're in situations where you're constantly giving and constantly giving in to other people's opinions of how the world works and how nature works and the nature of the universe and spirituality and so forth, then you don't have the space to really cultivate and live that as your truth. And the world, Gaia is saying that she needs you to be living your truth. So I'm going to take you through these cards that have been pre-shuffled. I have some oracles and some tarot. I'm going to shuffle on camera some additional tarot and your final oracles. So let's start with the surrender card. Surrender negative thinking. You have control over your thoughts. When negative thoughts surface, say thank you for sharing and quickly refocus on positive affirmations. Surrender your ego, cultivate gratitude, be of service to others, and come from your heart. A big ego can work against you, but humility will further your goals. They want me to go on to the spirit animals already, because they're saying that they will all come together then. So they want me to start with this one though. Spider, Dreamweaver, tune into the energetic grids around you. Where can you send your energy for healing? Koi, Carp, Abundance, move with the flow of abundance around and through you. And Snake, Kundalini rising, channel your creative passion and sensuality, welcome the transformation. So, okay, as things become clear here. It seems that you get caught in negative thoughts, and it also in creating situations in your mind that may or may not exist. And some of these things that you are creating are being created by your ego's need to be validated in some way. The most negative thinking, I wouldn't think any negative thinking comes from the heart, but there is this, I'm getting this vibe of someone who does a lot for other people and doesn't get recognized for it, at least not in like the way that in the 3D world recognition is most valued. And so it gives you negative feelings about people, about your interactions. It makes you sometimes your way of kind of defending yourself, because Red Jasper is about boundaries as well. Your way of defending yourself is like puffing up your ego and saying, you're too good, or those people are not like me, and so on and so forth. So what I'm getting is that you need to release these people from ever needing to acknowledge your contribution. If you are contributing for the benefits of it all, for the accolades or for praise, then you might as well not contribute. And that's part of, that's not true nurturing. And so you might as well kind of tend to yourself. If you're not getting what you need from other people, then you should give it to yourself That's also what Red Jasper is saying. And you may feel, I'm getting with this spider dreamweaver, you may feel more sustained if you do these transactions less with physically manifested people and do it more on this energetic spiritual level. So for example, sending prayers or sending light work, whichever practice you may be in, and doing that for the good of someone on another side of the world, a community or country that is having conflict at the moment, or generally for world peace, generally for animals, for the good of animals, for example, for their health and well-being, to end suffering, you can weave, they're saying that weaving the bigger picture will have positive effects on you, because at least what you're putting out there is with pure heart intentions. When you're doing things in the world, 3D things with 3D people, and it gets you in this negative thinking and in this ego state where, your ego is begging to be acknowledged and stroked and satisfied, you're not creating this beautiful dreamweave that is ultimately going to benefit you as well, right? So zooming out to the bigger picture, it may be exactly what you need. And working, you may actually be here just to be a light worker in grounding your goodness into the earth. And this is quite possibly, they say that this happens often with people who are here for that purpose, with souls who are here for that purpose of grounding and just being a light, that they often get into these situations where they don't feel the fulfillment in those interactions with people, because what is needed from them is not an active transactional type of work, but more an energetic presence, and perhaps sending energy into the grids and sending healing energy in a more general, widespread, for the whole collective way. The carp is saying that you need to watch. Oh, let me see this. So Gaia is saying to me that if you're banging your head against the wall and your ego is getting so puffed up and is blaming all these other people for not really seeing you for as you are, it's because you're not where you're supposed to be. And that's it. Or what you're supposed to get out of that constellation has nothing to do with the people. It only has to do with you getting something and getting out. And that's not using people. I mean, especially if it's a job, if it's a course you're paying for and you don't get along with your classmates. It's all about you taking what you need and keeping it moving. That's basically, instead of succumbing to, what are these people thinking about me? Why are these people like this? Why is this situation like that? It's like, you can notice it. It can come up. Your ego can say, hey, those girls are talking about us behind our back. Like, okay, thanks for letting me know. Moving on. At the end of the day, you know why you are where you are. You made a decision to be there, whether it's for money or something on your resume, or somewhere that something you always wanted to do. There's something in there that contributes to your abundance, but you have to be willing to move when it's time to move. That is what the koi message is bringing today. And the snake Kundalini rising, you're a very special individual. And I love that this came out for you because, grounding into Gaia, this series all came into my field for the purpose of communicating the importance of, the balancing earth energy to all of the light energy in the heavens, for lack of a better explanation. But waking the Kundalini, opening that channel. Yours is open and opening, and it's opening probably without you doing a lot. But why? And you're drawn to red jasper because of its put it this way: if you have a strong third eye, so if you, like some of you out there, maybe you read tarot or you do intuitive work, or they're also giving me the example of someone who's like super creative. Now, but let's start with the third eye. If your third eye is like super active, super accurate, on point, always giving you intuitive hits, flashes, and whatnot to your benefit. Imagine all of that in your root chakra. And most of us can't. Even us who work a lot with the body, like dance and athletes, because as was said in the beginning, the reason why there's so much red jasper available to us is because we need it badly. I almost want to say desperately. Well, they are saying desperately. They're telling me like it's so necessary for the human to feel grounded, safe, and nurtured in the 3D on Earth. To have that, like that is a trust that our human mother and father cannot provide us with. It is a security that is only available in the Earth's frequency, is what they're telling me. And that opening up, a lot of us who are open in the higher chakras have trouble opening in the lower chakras. So when that whole channel opens, it can be very, your ego wants to hold on to for dear life because basically everything that you knew about yourself becomes malleable. It becomes changeable. And that's one thing that the ego does not like. It's not that it doesn't like change, but it doesn't like looking in the mirror and not being sure of who it is. And at this point, you are really being transformed. And I use that in the passive, you are being transformed, because the energy that is coming through is that it's almost like the time just came and someone flipped a switch, and then this group that chose the red jasper is all being activated to align with their life purpose. And so there can be a lot of anxiety around that. And a lot of the old negative thoughts that you used to have, or that a lot of the negative thoughts that you have about yourself are coming to the surface to be cleared. Okay, so they want me to go to the next one. Oh, I spent longer on that section than I usually would. So anyway, let's go to this one. They're doing it in this direction. So this is from the Dreams of Gaia tarot. It's quite different from the traditional tarot, so I pulled it more like in a more oracle-y way. But then I'm going to pull some of the more, I'm going to pull more tarot from a different deck to clarify these. And then we'll go to the oracles. So number 9, body/mind. Number 12, the scribe. Wow. And the 6 of water. Okay, so Red Jasper, you are at you have the opportunity to explore how the body affects the mind and vice versa. And not even just the opportunity to explore, that may be one of the frequencies that you are being called to carry for the sake of the rest of humanity. So, like just how these crystals that we're talking about, they have a frequency, and if you tap into them, then you learn about, how to vibrate abundance, how to vibrate nurturing, how to vibrate self-love, for example. Just like that, so is the soul chosen what frequency it should contribute, or it is meant to contribute to the collective. And we get off track of that because, well, we see life as something different. Or I don't know when that happened. I'm not going to even speculate as to how long ago that happened. But living your soul's purpose, for the most part, has been seen as just like, witchy woo, not a real way to build a society. So we all choose, jobs that have meaning and purpose in a different type of construct. In the picture of the world that we have, but the picture of the universe, the picture of the world we have is but a speck in a huge, painting of universes. So even though it may not seem to you like there's a reason for you to be a vegan chef, right? Or like or being an abstract painter is not, the best career option. Like, how is that contributing? Or you may have a parent or someone saying, when are you going to get a real job? Things like that. It's all irrelevant. It is, you do not see half of who you affect and what you affect. This Dreamweaver card is telling me that your influence is much wider than you're able to see. And the scribe is also saying, some of you may be drawn to writing your own story. And in writing your own story, you're actually writing a lot of a story for a whole line of people behind you and beside you who got their activation from your influence. I'm getting here that some of you may be in a very specific profession that requires your mind and your body to be in balance. Or if I had mentioned before, athleticism, athletes, dancers, for example, how your mind affects how you move and how your body communicates to you. And is that communication balanced? That is also something there. And then we have writing or recording your journeys in some way. And we have the Six of Water. It's interesting to me. Six to me is always about balance. And she is coming with this beautiful gift. And I like where it's coming with this surrender your ego, because the gift is, once you get out of your ego, you'll get to your heart. And that's not just going to benefit other people, that benefits you. So if you are consciously aware of how you get your back up when you're vulnerable or sensitive, and also if you get out of these situations where you feel undervalued, then your heart will be able to glow more, even if at first that seems like a daunting thing for you to do, like, because being undervalued but you get paid for it is a balance for you. There's something else on the other side of that that's totally, like, there's a huge awakening on the other side of it for you. Hence the snake and the Six of Cups. And you will make more balanced decisions and have more balanced boundaries because of your experiences in the realm where people don't quite appreciate you for the whole of what you bring. And part of why they can't appreciate you for all of what you bring is because a lot of what you bring is not in the physical realm. It's like etheric. It's in your aura. It's in your vibration. It's in your more etheric bodies. So they don't have the capacity to value you for what you bring, because they don't have the capacity to recognize what it is you bring. And some people are actually jealous because you just naturally have a vibration that has a certain effect, and they want to somehow cut you down to size. There's something more to say about that. There was a thought that came in and went out, but thank you. We'll get back to it. So I pulled from the Afro-Brazilian Tarot. That's this deck right here. We have card 11. I believe this is Justice in this deck. I think I have to check if it's turned around or not, because some of them in this deck, the numbers are different. No, it's not Justice, it's Strength. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. This is the Strength card, number 11 in this deck. Then we have the Page of Cups. And we have the Queen of Cups. So a lot about leaning into your emotions, pile 4. And the Strength card in this case for me is really about courage and resiliency. Because I'm getting that these people who think negative things about you, so some of this surrender negative thinking is about tossing away what you've heard people say about you. Or what they even say about you, say to you, to your face, right? You need to just let that tornado take that somewhere else. And you need to do that regularly with ones in the present and the ones that come to the surface from the past that somehow haunt you. That needs to go. It'll make your body and your mind stronger if you are able to sweep away these negative thoughts, the ones that others have planted in you, the ones that others have made about you, and the ones that you keep repeating to yourself. Those all have to go. The Page of Cups, you're really being encouraged to document this emotional journey in one way or another. Because if you do manage, and all your teams are rooting for you to manage, and Gaia herself is rooting for you to manage making this transition and surrendering your ego and realizing like you are so magically magnificent, and by even like you're wasting precious energy by entertaining whatever this situation is and suffering under the dissatisfaction of your ego, because you didn't get what you were looking for there because you weren't meant to get it there. And that is it. That's that's the reality. And I know I'm laughing, but it's because they're saying, you're banging your head against the wall they're showing me like you're banging your head against the wall of a shed when the door to the castle is open. So it's like, go into your castle and just be the king, queen, royal that you are, and enjoy a life that is meant for you, instead of battling for this life that's not even going to be able to contain all of what you have to offer. And that's just it. The Queen of Cups is perfectly willing to, take her emotional investment elsewhere. And she can also get through all of that turmoil that the ego is sending. And no, we are not going to get caught up in negative self-talk. We're not going to call ourselves a failure for not having completed that thing. It's like, that thing was not for us, so how could you fail at something that you weren't, like, I can't fail a course I wasn't taking in the first place. I left that because it was not aligned with me. I'm going to grab your final oracles here. The wisdom of the oracle. Ooh. Okay, so I have to read from the book of this one, because in this deck there's reversals. So we got the Observer, number 49, but it came this way. And I don't want to tell you something wrong. We were given this card for a reason, so I will read from the book. 49. Perspective, objectivity, neutral observation from a distance. Okay. In the reverse, we've got the protection message. Yes. Ever think sometimes your life options are suction cups to your face and you can't see beyond yourself? There's a big world out there, a multitude of potential realities that you're unable to perceive at present. So you're a little stuck. It's time to get advice from someone you trust, someone who has a better perspective on your circumstances. Other points of view are needed now before you move forward. Take heart. A beautiful vista is waiting for you to drink it in. You just need a little help widening your scope beyond your small self. So yeah, this card is saying that if you need someone, you may need a good friend, like someone that you really trust, someone that you're really aligned with, to tell you about your awesomeness so that you stop playing, like fighting for small things. Because as they're saying, you're not seeing the big picture just yet. And you may need help seeing that, especially if you are very self-critical. So let's see what the language of the flowers has to add as a final message. Oh, you got lots. You want all of these? Yes. So, I mean, they're small messages. So we got 4. I'll start with this one. Insight. The answers are there for those who look. Pitcher plant. Sorry. Cyclamen. Resignation. Say goodbye to what you no longer need. Gardenia, awareness, wake up, roll the clouds away and look. And the last one, tuberose, desire, be certain of where you place your passion. Yeah. And this all, it just ties everything together. You need to start looking elsewhere for your happiness if you're not getting it where you are. That doesn't mean you have to, cancel and back out of anything that you have already started, for example. But, be very clear about why you're seeing it through to the end, and don't be seeing it through to the end for things that are not valuable to you. So find, and if, like, let's say you're in a contract and you have to see it through, then at least find something in yourself, for yourself, that continues to fuel and your dream weaving. Say goodbye to what you no longer need. Weave, that's pretty clear. Wake up, roll the clouds away and look. That's also pretty clear with your observer in the reverse. And be certain of where you place your passion. The Queen of Cups here is very clear about where she's going with that jug of her emotions and her blessings that she has to offer people. So that brings us to the very, very end of Grounding with Gaia, episode 1. I'll call it episode 1. I hope you enjoyed this reading, and I hope that you will come back next month as this relationship deepens, as this journey continues. I wish you all the best, and don't forget to like or subscribe as well. So, pile forward, take care, be well, and stay blessed. Bye for now.